I will go to yourself first, Michael, on the lockdown, the local lockdown, the outbreaks, all of the news that we heard over the last 24 hours, and talk now that there may be a need for a local lockdown in the 3 counties affected. What do you make of it?
Well, obviously it's very bad news, and for everybody, but especially for those who are most directly affected. I mean, I've been calling for more localised measures for a long time now. I think the one-size-fits-all approach hasn't been adopted anywhere in Europe for months now, and we're the only ones still doing that. I do appreciate we're a smaller country and there are difficulties. If you lock down an area, you do have to restrict travel from that area, or else everybody just leaves and goes to another area for the weekend or a week, and there are difficulties with it, but I do think we have to do that. I think there's a bigger problem, though, with the coherence of the strategy being adopted. I mean, we're adopting a different strategy to the rest of the European Union. The rest of the European Union has decided it's going to open up its hospitality sector, albeit carefully and safely. It's going to open up its tourist sector. We've decided not to do that, and the latest evidence, the latest decision on that was the not moving to phase 4, which doesn't just affect small rural pubs, it also affects GA matches, it affects churches and gatherings in churches. I was at a concert last night in the church in Fecal. Normally there's a Fecal festival this time of the year. There were about 40 people there, and it was strange, but there was this huge sense of relief even among the musicians that and the people there, that there was a semblance of normality and there was a semblance of community, and I think that's important, and we're not doing enough of trying to go back to normal in a safe way. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with what Sinead is saying. I mean, there is no evidence of clusters in the hospitality sector. We were told before this latest very bad news, we were told that there were 12 incidents in the hospitality sector over the previous week, and that was the day before yesterday. Yet there were 47 incidents in direct provision centres. There were 47 incidents and 4 clusters in meat factories.
There is international evidence though in relation to pubs.
Well, we're told that there is, and that the evidence on which NEFID was acting was going to be produced and released, and what we got was a series of press clippings from The Guardian and from the New York Times, rather than I was expecting, frankly, some peer-reviewed medical journal, rather than something that you might get with a junior science, something that you might get with something that you might. Michael. Yeah, but we're told that there's evidence from Spain, there's evidence from Australia. Like, I presume if we know about that, then they know about that. But they haven't chosen to shut their hospitality sector in Spain. They haven't chosen to shut their hospitality sector throughout Australia. I do appreciate that there's a localised lockdown in parts of Australia, just as there are curfews in place in Antwerp and one other city in Belgium. But we're looking at a curfew or an 11 o'clock ban on any economic activity in Ireland right across the country, in every city, in every town and every townland. And I mean, Belgium is not a huge country. Belgium is a smaller country than Ireland. And if you can do localised in Belgium, I simply don't know why you have to have a one-size-fits-all approach here. And with regard to the pubs, the larger pubs that are serving large numbers of people with a bucket of chicken wings or a pizza or something are open. It's the smaller rural pubs which provide a greater alternative for people to go to, largely where you have family-run businesses.
Michael?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Colm to the extent that we're not going to stop every outbreak. We simply can't. But what we have to do is target places where we know there are outbreaks repeatedly. The lack of sick pay in meat plants and in nursing homes and the conditions in direct provision centres are a problem. We have been told, just to note, O'Brien's spokesperson this morning told us that they do give full pay to workers when they're off with COVID. And that's good news, but there are a lot of meat plants who couldn't confirm that they did that and that when they were in before the committee. But with regard to what Colm said, I mean, that it's somehow a choice between our health and our economy. Unfortunately, I don't think it's that simple, because our health system is dependent on having a functioning economy. The reason that we locked down as hard as we did with less cases than other countries in Europe is we have no capacity in our health system to deal with anything extra. We're overwhelmed every single winter, and we need a functioning economy. But it's 105.
I didn't say that, Michael. I didn't say it's a choice between our health and our economy. I think what government does every day in every decision it makes is trying to balance that. You obviously, as an opposition deputy, have the right to disagree with them on that, but every single decision you make as regards unlocking or easing restrictions or reimposing is always a choice between the health and the economy. But I think we need a robust economy to invest in our healthcare system so that we can have a healthcare system which can respond to this. We don't have at the moment, unfortunately. I just think it's important to remember that we're talking about human life.
And I completely accept we're talking about human life, but we're also talking about human life in the nursing homes, in the direct provision centres and in the meat plants, and nothing has been done. No single policy or regulation has changed with regard to those settings where the vast majority of clusters have been. Not every cluster I completely completely accept, and there will be clusters outside of those, and we have to be able to deal with those. And I'm not suggesting that we lock down Kildare now, but what I'm saying is we have to move away from a one-size-fits-all approach, from Mallinhead to Mizenhead, from Kilkee to Dublin, and look at localised solutions where they're necessary and localised proposals.